Hey guys! So technically this video is a craft hoard because I've had this thrifted stuff for a few weeks now. I think that's enough time to say that it's firmly in my stash of crafting crap. So I got this, it's just like a little photo album thing, I guess, like one of these thingies. I forgot how much it was, probably like 50 cents or something like that, but I wanted it for this metal frame. I thought that I could use it to make a cute little clutch or little purse or something, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. Hi, Editing Rachel here. So, as you may know, this month has been quite hectic for me, but I've really tried to keep on schedule. Anyway, next week won't go so well. Initially, I pre-filmed a bunch of DIY videos so that I could pack up everything, but still edit things and put out videos while my studio was in limbo. But sadly, the last DIY I filmed ended up crashing and burning. So instead of trying to unpack a bunch of my DIY stuff and throw together a quick DIY video, my wonderful husband suggested that I do a Q&A video, which I thought was a great idea. I haven't done one in a while, and I'd totally be able to film and edit even with my studio all packed up. So if you have any questions, leave it down below and I'll try my best to answer it next week. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled programming. So let's get started. I used the metal frame from that photo album thing. I easily removed the frame from the rest of the album by cutting it and then pulling it out with pliers. Scissors, vinyl fabric. I'm using these random colors because I didn't have enough of one of the colors to make the bag, so my idea was to paint over the whole thing with this leather paint to make it one color. I don't end up doing that in this video, but I'm still considering doing it anyway. Some other fabric for the inside. I'm using this fabric that I used a while ago to make a cooler cushion. Some yarn, E6000, and some pliers. Because I had a limited amount of this vinyl fabric, I had to cut multiple body pieces, rather than just doing one piece. You can find tutorials that are probably more efficient than what I'm doing here, but in the spirit of keeping this a craft hoard, I had to do what I had to do. I cut 3 pieces for the body, a main piece and 2 side pieces. For the side pieces, I cut 2 as tall as the metal frame side, plus about 2 inches, by the width of the measurement of the metal frame when it's opened, plus ½ an inch. For the main piece, I cut the width of the metal frame plus ½ an inch by these combined measurements from the side pieces. Hopefully this makes sense. Anywho, I cut pieces with the same measurements out of the lining fabric. I decided to do handles, so I cut some pieces 1½ by 9 inches. I folded the edges over, overlapping them a bit, and then sewed them down the middle to secure them in place. Then I figured out the placement. I laid the frame over the main body piece of vinyl and then kind of eyeballed where I wanted the straps to go. I marked that spot and then sewed them onto the main piece. From there, I sewed the side pieces onto either side of one end of the main body piece, right sides touching, using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And this is what I had at this point. Right sides touching again, I lined the other side of the side pieces to the other end of the main piece and sewed them together. Then I lined the bottom up and sewed that up. And then I repeated these steps with the lining fabric. Once done, I flipped the outer fabric right sides out, put the lining fabric inside, lined up the top edges, and sewed around the edge, pretty close to the edge, just to keep it all in place. Then I attempted to attach the frame, which wasn't going as smoothly as I thought it was going to. The vinyl and lining fabric together weren't very thick, and even with the E6000, the fabric was just falling out of the frame. Then I remembered that the photo album thing that the frame was attached to initially had a line of string around the top edge, which helped make it a bit thicker so that it could be shoved into the frame and stay in place. So I grabbed some yarn, which really some heavier duty string would be better, but I used what I had. And then I sewed that around the top edge. and then I added it to the frame, which worked much better this time around. I still used E6000 as well, just to make sure everything stayed in place. So first, I stuck in the top edges. You'll probably need some sort of tool to help you cram the edges in. I used a flathead screwdriver. And then I went through and stuck the edges in, just like I did the top. And once the E6000 was dry, the bag was all done. Well, for now anyway. Like I said, I may go back and paint over this, but as of right now, this is what it looks like. So I'm generally happy with how this turned out. I think it's kind of an ugly bag. Maybe painting it all one color will make it a little bit better, but I'm probably going to use it for more utilitarian storage, so I'm not too concerned about how it looks really. What I am happy with is that I feel like I learned quite a bit by making this thing, what to do, what not to do, what kind of metal frame to get. This metal frame is fine, but it's a little long on the edges, so it makes the bag kind of stick out weirdly when it's closed. This frame wasn't really made for a bag like this, but I do want to try this type of bag again, so I'll probably do that sometime. Not sure when, but I'm definitely going to revisit this sometime. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please leave a like, and if you want to see more, then feel free to subscribe. I post art videos every Tuesday and DIY videos every Thursday. Thank you to my patrons for helping me produce this video. If you are interested in becoming a patron, then I'll leave a link to mine right up here and you can go check it out. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, please leave a comment down below, and I'll see you next week.